guys, it's Katie from the blog and podcast nowthatwe'reafamily.com, and today I'm going to show you guys exactly how I taught my 4- and 5-year-old to knit independently in 10 minutes. Now, I thought it would take a lot longer than that, and so I'm excited to show you the little hacks that I use whenever it comes to teaching my children something. I want them to, 1, be excited about it, and 2, I want them to have success as fast as possible, because once that momentum is on their side, then they are self-motivated to continue learning that skill. And I think often when we teach little children things, they can get really bogged down in the beginnings of it and get so frustrated they don't really want to continue. So I'm going to share how I avoided those mishaps. And you can watch this video even if you don't know how to knit. I will have resources for you so that you can learn exactly what I'm doing and set your kids up for success that way. But before I dive into showing you exactly what I did, I want to share with you guys, okay, why knitting? Why would you want a 4- and 5-year-old to start knitting in the first place? 1, it is like the easiest form of entertainment aside from reading a book. And teaching your child to read is exponentially harder than teaching them how to knit. So they can take it with them easily to a dentist's office, on a long car trip, to church. We have our children sit in church in the service with us, and so it's something that they can bring that is zero mess. They can get it out independently. They can put it away independently. It's awesome for transitions in your day. So maybe after meal times when you just need 10 minutes to clean up or you need to put your makeup on or whatever, they can grab out their knitting and do that. And it's also awesome because it's a life skill. You aren't teaching them how to do something random. It's something that they can take through their entire life. In fact, so when I was in my knitting prime at 14, 15, 16 years old, actually, I knitted these, I think, at 18. I knitted these forever long socks, and it took like 4 needles to go around, and it was so fun. I would sit and knit while my mother read to me and my siblings. Even at that age, we would do that in the evenings, and that is also an awesome way to increase our children's attention span. We're a Charlotte Mason classical education household. We do that here for our homeschool. And so literature is a large part of what we do here in our home. And I found that children are much more engaged, and they are also able to comprehend a lot more when there's something to kind of fidget with and something for them to do. So I like to take advantage of that and read at breakfast when they're already kind of fidgeting, at lunch, and then knitting. And while they are knitting, they're also able to have their mind on something else and really increase that attention span and their comprehension in the process. Okay, so how do you do it? The first thing is, get your child excited about it, and what I did was get peer pressure on my side. Anytime you can have your child watch another child their age doing the skill first, that gets them excited about it and makes them think, 1, I can do this, and 2, I want to, because that kid makes it look cool. So I will link the video down below to a 50-second video clip that I showed my daughter Lucy of this little girl knitting and talking to the camera. She was 4 years old. And that gave me the courage as well as a mother to be like, okay, we can do this. So first, get them excited about it. Second, I order a lot of things on Amazon, but I think the textile part of this is what makes it so addicting. Like if you are into fabric or weaving or anything with yarn or string, going into the fabric store and buying something is what you live for. You want to finish your product so you can do that, your project so you can do that. So I took my kids with me into Michael's and I said, okay, you could pick out any color yarn on this section. And what the yarn I was looking for is thick yarn. So you want a really thick worsted yarn because this is going to speed up their project. It's going to make it go quicker. Here's an example of my son's scarf that he's knitting. This, you can see, is really chunky and it makes the project go really fast for them. It's very easy for them to see when they've dropped stitches, and it's just, yeah, it's cozy, but it's also just going to speed up the project. Now, these colors aren't the most exciting colors in the world, and my children were really drawn to stuff like this. And so it's just a little skinnier. I knew they would be more frustrated starting out, but I wanted them to stay excited. So this is a $2 ball of yarn. I kind of put it out there as a carrot for my daughter, and I said, okay, once you finish your first project with this yarn, then I will get this and you can start working on this yarn. So again, it was a small investment, but she was really motivated to finish her little doll blanket here so that she can move on to her next project with this kind of crazy colored yarn. The second thing you're looking for is fat needles, but not too big. So these are 13 millimeter. I would say 13 to 15 millimeter. I will link the ones down below. These are bamboo. I'm seeing it says 9 millimeter here. Oh, US 13. There we go. So you want these thick needles, not the really long ones, because they're gonna get stuck under your children's elbows and get really frustrated. So this is like the perfect length here. It's probably about 9 inches. So something like that. And then you are ready to start. So what do you do first? You don't start first by teaching your child how to cast on, because this is a complicated part of the process and it's very annoying for them. If you don't know how to cast on, you just do a little slip knot and slide it on your needle. And then I will link a little tutorial down below, but I'll give you a little fast version here. You're gonna wrap your yarn something like this and put on 10 stitches. So I found that 10 stitches was kind of the ideal length. It's easy for the kiddos to count and make sure that they didn't lose any stitches and they don't get bored going across a long period of time, but they also aren't turning around too often. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I told them, hey, Mama's gonna start your knitting and then I will call you over and teach you how I did it. So again, my children do not know how to cast on yet. This first row is one of the hardest rows to do. Because these stitches are kind of sticky and difficult. So I will show you how I started it for them. I went back and forth a few rows. Okay, I'm gonna just jump cut, pretend I just did that. And I got it to a little bit less than this. So my son, my 3-year-old's been working with me, and he's probably done 3 or 4 rows on this. So I get it maybe 1 inch or 2 long, and then I call him over to me and I say, hey, Mama started your knitting. So see, they're already seeing a little bit of progress, what it can look like. And I'm like, it's time for you to learn how to knit now. And I will show you kind of the exact words I used with them. So I said, okay, you hold this part in your left hand and then hold this part in your right hand. And you're gonna go under this first stitch here. I hold the needles behind my children's hands so I can kind of help them in the beginning. You're gonna go, the rabbit's gonna go under the hole, and then you see that bunny ear right there? We're gonna go around the bunny ear and pull it down. Then the bunny's gotta duck back under the hole, and then it's gonna jump over the mountain, boing, okay? So we're gonna do that again, through the hole, around the bunny ear, back down through the hole, and jump over the mountain. And we just say that together every time we're going around and around. Now, I did kind of try to teach them how to hold your string in this hand so that it's a lot quicker. But honestly, that was a little complicated for their little hands. So I just let the string hang free. They pick it up with their little pointer fingers, wrap it around, pull it through, pop it over the mountain. And my son, after 10 minutes, could do this completely independently at 5 years old. And then my daughter, it took me, I don't know, maybe 3 sessions of sitting down with her doing 10 minutes, or maybe 1 row, 2 rows, and then she got it. So here you go, you go to the end with them, teach them that last stitch is gonna bounce over the mountain, and then look, it's all on this side and you're ready to start over. This ball should be always on the right side. So you're gonna get your needle again. You're gonna go in the first stitch. When my children are first starting, I always do the first 2 stitches for them. So this is kind of the transitionary part. In the beginning, I'm always holding the needles with them. When I feel like they're ready to start doing it on their own, which my daughter was after like 2 sessions, my 4-year-old, then I said, okay, Mama's gonna start your knitting. So I did the first 2 stitches for her. Because again, those are the easiest to blow out of proportion and get like really, really big like that. You don't have that issue once you get through that first stitch. So I do the first stitch, I do the second stitch for her here, and I say, okay, then I'll give it to her and be like, okay, now you do it. And she'll sit next to me and take her time and just kind of, again, bunny, bunny down, bunny over the mountain. And so that is how they can knit independently. Now, what I do is I take it off the needles for them. If you don't know how to take your knitting off the needles, I have a 2-minute tutorial that I watched. I will link that down below because you guys don't need all the details right now. But it's been a really fun, engaging thing for the kiddos to do. It's been fun for me to watch them progress. And it really increases the kids' self-confidence and self-esteem anytime they learn a life skill and they're able to say, wow, when I put in this effort and intention, this is what I get out of it. I can actually make something. So the sooner that we can get our children started doing these quantifiable wins where they are able to go to bed feeling like they just put in a lot of effort and they feel good about themselves, the better. And if it's fun, even better. So obviously casting on and casting off, basically getting your stitches on the needle and then off the needle, are important parts of the knitting process, but my children are now motivated to learn them because they want to take their knitting off the needles. So my daughter went through the casting off process to get her little doll blanket off the needles. My son will do the same thing when he does his scarf, and when he starts his second project, I will teach him the casting on, but he already knows that he can make something really cool, and so he's motivated to go through that extra little frustration learning how to do that extra step. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below for me, and I will talk to you guys in our next video.